Welcome back to Taste of Friendship. My name is Mrs. Tipton, and today with me I have Brooklyn Fisher and Ryder Foy for our Super Bowl. Okay, redo.
You said my name wrong.
Okay, I that's what tripped me up.
Foie?
Foie?
Yes.
Foie? Foy?
Here we go. Right on the
Foie,
set.
right? Foie?
Foie.
Foie.
In 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Taste of Friendship. My name is Mrs. Tipton, and today with me I have Brooklyn Fisher and Ryder Foy, and we are making a bunch of food for our Super Bowl. Since Super Bowl is such a fun time in the year, we decided to make a couple snacks. So we are going to be making a Chorizo Queso Dip, fried hot dogs with chili and cheese, and a cake batter dip. So let's get started.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly.
Lights out.
And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to Taste of Friendship. Right now we're starting with our Chorizo Queso Dip, and Ryder is going to take it over for us.
All right, so for our ingredients, we have a thing of pork chorizo, some Velveeta, a can of Rotel diced tomatoes and green chili, and some fresh green onions right here. And so the first thing we'll do is go and cook the little thing of pork chorizo. Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's head over to the stove. So the first thing that you're gonna wanna do is turn on your heat to a medium-high heat. And we've already opened our chorizo, so Ryder, you can go ahead and just put it in the skillet. Yep. So for chorizo, you actually don't need a greasing agent because chorizo is already so greasy, it's not gonna stick to your pan. So really, he's just gonna kind of just dice it up and it's gonna take a little while. But you can see he's just using his spatula and he's just gonna kind of mush it up. And after a little while, it'll become more of a meaty texture, but it does take a little bit to cook. Okay, while Ryder is doing this, I'm gonna head back over with Brooklyn, and we're going to be starting to cut up our Velveeta. Ryder will come back to check on you. So now Brooklyn is going to be cutting up the Velveeta.
So with Velveeta, it takes a while to melt because it's such a thick cheese. And so when you're making a queso, you want to cut it as, in a pretty small chunks so that you can get it to melt as quickly as possible, because obviously people are going to want your queso pretty quickly. So you'll open your package and get it on your cutting board. And then the sharper the knife, the better. And then 1-inch chunks. Velveeta is pretty sticky, so it will stick to your knife a little bit, but that's not really a big deal.
Ryder, how's the chorizo coming?
Well, it's looking pretty good.
Good.
It's looking a lot more meaty than it was before.
Yes, absolutely. So we're gonna cook this for a couple more minutes, and when Brooklyn is done with her Velveeta, we are actually going to bring it back over here and combine it with the chorizo.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, We have now finished cubing up all of the Velveeta. So Ryder's chorizo is starting to look really good, starting to look really cooked. So we are going to take the Velveeta over to the chorizo so the cheese can start melting. Okay. So a little bit at a time, we're just gonna add the Velveeta. And then you can kind of start to like mix it in with the chorizo. You really want to be able to incorporate all the flavors together. That's what makes this dip so yummy. While they're doing that, I'm actually going to open up the can of Rotel so it's ready for us to go when the Velveeta is starting to melt. Okay. Okay, so now our Rotel is open and they can just come and grab it whenever it's time to do this part. So as y'all can see, it kind of is a longer process to get the Velveeta to melt, but that's why we just kind of want to continuously stir it so it doesn't burn to the bottom of the pan. But it is becoming a nice queso texture. Yeah, we could definitely dice up the green onions. So when you're working with a partner, it's really good to do multiple things at one time. So while Ryder is working on the queso, Brooklyn's gonna head over and start dicing up our green onions, and that will be a part, like a topping on top of our queso.
Okay, so with green onions, you don't really have to cook them that long because you kind of want them to be a little bit of a crunch, because with queso, it can get kind of a little bit of a slimy texture. And so you want more of a crunch with it, because I mean some people want to take queso by the spoonful. And so we're gonna make about 2 tablespoons of sliced green onions, and it's really your preference on the size you want them to be. So I'm just gonna do a quick dice of them. And we'll just be able to throw in about however much we want. And you want to stop when you start getting a little bit of the whiter parts, because those start getting really, really crunchy.
So with onions, it's totally a personal preference, and if you don't even like onions, you don't even have to add it to your queso if you don't want to. Completely up to you and how you like your queso. Okay, that queso is starting to look really yummy. What's the next step on the queso?
You add in, your Rotel. You'll you won't drain it or anything because you want the liquid from it, but you'll add in all of that Rotel. If you don't like so much spicy things, you don't have to have the green chilies, but it's a personal preference.
So now that the queso is really coming together, we can kind of turn down the heat a little bit, and we can start working on our tortilla chips. We are actually going to make our tortilla chips in the fryer, so it will be homemade completely. Ryder, I can take over the queso for you if you would like me to.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. And that's how you make chorizo queso dip.
Whether you need a hand shopping for groceries, using up scraps, or finishing every bite, Meal Prep Mate can help you plan better and save more. Whether you're a newbie getting your first taste, a meal prepper honing your chops, or a meal prep pro hungry for a challenge, you can learn how to eat smarter, plan better, and save more at every step of meal prep. When you finish every bite, you save. Start prepping with Meal Prep Mate at SaveTheFood.com.
Okay, welcome back. So we just finished making our queso dip, and now we are going to be making our homemade tortilla chips. So Ryder is going to show us kind of how to do it. We have our corn tortillas, and we're just going to cut them up, and then we're going to go back to the fryer. So Ryder, just kind of talk us through what you're doing.
So I split the stack of corn tortillas in half just to make it easier on cutting. And then what you'll want to do is cut them into fourths. It's a little uneven, but it'll be fine. So obviously if you cut it into fourths, then you get the nice shape of what you normally expect a tortilla chip to look like. There we go.
Perfect. Look how easy that is. And if you don't have a fryer at your house, which I'm sure most of y'all don't, you can totally just use a pot with some oil. You can use vegetable oil or peanut oil and just get it up to temp on your stove, and you can fry your own tortilla chips at home. Brooklyn is going to open up our hot dogs, and we are gonna head back to the fryer after that.
You can definitely use longer hot dogs if you would like. It's up to you depending on the bun you want and depending on the type of hot dog you want. It's all up to you depending on the Super Bowl party that you're going to, and if you're, the dietary restrictions you follow, all of that.
Okay, now that all of our food is prepped, we're gonna go ahead and head back to the fryer. Ryder, you wanna grab the cutting board for me? And let's go.
So over here, we will be making the tortilla chips. We'll actually be frying them. So we'll just take these off our cutting board and then just sort of put them into the fryer one at a time, just so that they don't stick together. It doesn't really matter if they're on top of each other, just as long as they're not like together. So we'll just do all of them in the same fryer. Come on. There. There's much more efficient ways to put them in there, but I'm just trying to be as, precise as I can. All right, so now that we have all the chips in there, we'll just want to put it in the fryer and let it sit for a bit. kind of want to shake them up a bit occasionally. So if you can see, they're already starting to get a little crispy. It's amazing what difference a few minutes in the fryer can make.
Those look good. Is there any way that you're able to like check one or anything just to see how they're doing?
Well, I could just pull them out for a quick second and then use the tongs to grab.
Kind of see, like, are they crispy? Are they still mushy? What does it?
Still a little oily and hot, but judging by how they are, they're still, well, they're pretty crispy.
Do y'all want to put them in for just a couple more minutes and then pull them out? Or do you think they're done?
I think they might be pretty much done.
Okay, awesome. So what's the next step that we do? That sounds like a good crunch.
So, next thing we'll want to do, you'll just kind of want to shake it to get most of the oil out, because you don't really want that oily of chips. And then we have our big bowl here. We'll go ahead and just dump them all in there. It's not as much as I thought there would be, but still a good bit.
Okay.
And so now we have our Lawry's seasoned salt. So we'll just want to put a bit over the chips and then just kind of shake them up.
Perfect. Okay, now let's do the hot dogs.
All right. So next we have these beef hot dogs. We'll just want to take them, put them in the fryer. How many do we want to do?
We can do all of them.
All of them? Okay, so we'll put 4 in that side, and then, we'll just put all of them in the same side. There we go. Okay, so the oil from the hot dog is kind of mixing with the oil of the fryer. Bit of a reaction. So, but whenever we put them in there they're going. So we'll just want to let them sit for a few minutes. Just like with the chips, a few minutes in the fryer can make a big difference.
Do we want to check them?
So we'll just bring them out. And there we go. We'll just grab one, put it on here. How do you all think that looks?
I think that looks delicious.
It's pretty crispy. So I think they should be good.
So the best thing to do is just to get it on a paper towel, let the oil drain off, and once all the oil is kind of off the hot dog itself, then that's when you can assemble it and make it your fried chili cheese hot dog.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Welcome back. Now that we are done with our chorizo queso and our homemade tortilla chips, we are going to assemble our fried hot dogs. So Brooklyn is going to show us how to assemble a fried hot dog with chili and cheese.
Yeah, so first you'll grab your hot dog buns. Again, the size that you pick is up to you for the hot dog buns. And also if you want to toast them, that's up to you. You can put them in the fryer too if you would like. So then just put your fried and then you can add obviously a ketchup, mustard, mayo, whatever you want, but we chose chili because why not?
Who doesn't love a fried chili cheese hot dog?
Exactly. You can also add your chorizo queso if you would like, because obviously if you're making it, why not add it? And I mean, that sounds pretty good.
It does sound good.
Sounds pretty good to me.
And I mean, the more the merrier, right?
That sounds so good. We can actually do that, at least for one of them.
Perfect. So you can just take a spoonful and add it. And then you can add shredded cheese, the cheese of your choice, whatever you feel fits best. You can do mozzarella, you can do shredded cheese, you can do a Mexican blend, whatever is in your fridge or whatever you want to go buy at the store. And then you're done.
Perfect. So now we have done our chili cheese, fried hot dogs, and our chorizo queso with our homemade tortilla chips. And when we come back, we are going to show you all how to make a cake batter like frosting dip. It's really yummy.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
Welcome back. We are going to make our cake batter dip with Brooklyn. So I'm going to just hand it over to Brooklyn and she's going to tell you all how to do it.
So for a cake batter dip, your first two ingredients that you're going to add is about 8 ounces of cream cheese and whipped topping. You want to make sure that your whipped topping is pretty much completely thawed and that your cream cheese is at room temperature. That just makes it easier on the mixer. You could use a hand mixer or you could just mix this by hand, but using a KitchenAid makes it a lot easier on yourself and it just makes it a lot quicker. So add that Cool Whip and then you'll open your cream cheese container. And then you'll go ahead and add the bowl onto your KitchenAid. Add your paddle attachment. You can use a whisk too, but then you just lose a lot of your mix. Lift it up, And then you're gonna stir it until it's smooth. So then when it's looking nice and smooth, you're gonna want to scrape down the sides really quick, just to make sure that everything throughout the process is nice and creamy and everything's getting nice and combined, because you don't want, to dip in and just get a nice, blob of cream cheese. You wouldn't want that. So then you're gonna take a box of Funfetti cake mix and you're gonna add all of that in. As well as about 1/3 of a cup of milk. I've measured out 2/3 of a cup, but you're gonna start with about 1/3, because you're gonna go with the consistency that you like the best. And then you're gonna mix it on low first and then kick up the speed when it's not too dry. I'm gonna add a little more milk, just a little at a time so it doesn't get too runny. Okay, and then you're gonna bring your mixer down, take your paddle out. Scrape down your paddle so you get all the good stuff. Okay, then you're going to want to set that to the side. I hand mix it a little bit just where you make sure that it's all nice and mixed, because sometimes the paddle doesn't get all of the sides and all of the bottom. Okay, and then when it's done, you can transfer it to a bowl of your choice, or you can keep it in here if that's easier for you, but it's up to you.
And this really is such an easy, 5-minute recipe that will truly impress your friends and family. They will not know that it was only just 2 or 3 ingredients.
Okay, and when you're done adding that, you can grab a plate, put your dip on it, and then add some graham crackers, or any, if you want to do a Dunkaroo style and get animal crackers, you can do that too, because it's kind of like a Dunkaroo inspired dip. But add some graham crackers to the edges of it so it's easier to dip, and then you're done.
Well, thanks so much for joining us at this episode of Taste of Frenship. Today we made chili cheese fried hot dogs, cake batter dip, and chorizo queso. And I appreciate Ryder and Brooklyn helping me make all these fun dishes that you can bring to your Super Bowl party. And we will see y'all next time on the next episode.